Hi guys, it's your bougie friend Anya M, and welcome to let me not say the very first episode, but I mean the very first episode in this forum. So I just want to welcome everyone to this new platform that we'll now be using also along with Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts and everything. We're finally in video form. You guys have been asking and I'm literally going to it's not one fly that just flying on face. You guys have asked and we're now in video. No sir. Like I said, you guys have asked and we're now in video form. So from I started this podcast, a lot of you have asked me if I was ever going to do YouTube, and I literally always said no, because that was never in my plan. Bringing Anya Uncensored to YouTube was never in my plan, because I'm going to give you guys a few reasons why. Anya Uncensored, as the name suggests, is literally all my uncensored opinions, and I just didn't feel like YouTube was ready for that. And I still kind of don't. The episodes that are on YouTube will be more censored than the ones that are on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts. This platform will put me in the forefront more, so I just said, maybe I should probably tone it down on this. And then for the people who literally like the uncensored version, you guys can literally go over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM, Beaker, just to name a few. Another reason why I didn't want to do it is because if you guys ever knew the conditions that I'm in when I record these podcasts, sometimes I'm literally in my pajamas. And then I was saying to myself, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to fix up myself to do all these things, and honestly I did not want to do that. I literally wanted to record my podcast in my pajamas and go about my day, but now I'm going to have to fix up myself. Today I don't have on any makeup, just some lip gloss, and I comb my eyebrows, try to make them a little bit neater because I need for do, but we're gonna excuse that today. I'm going to have to put on appropriate clothes and all these things, and it was just a stress for me. Thinking about it was way too much of a stress, but now I feel like you guys have asked for so long that now I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna make the sacrifice and I'm gonna do it. Probably some days you might catch me in literally my pajamas and my bonnet. Speaking of bonnet, June did not ask me to do this, but honestly, if you guys want a good bonnet, please to go check out June's 4B Life. I love my bonnet. It's the cutest thing ever. I got one from me and my mom. My mom's one is brown and mine is royal blue. I know some bonnets slip off of your head at night time. This one does not. Like, this is literally the best bonnet I've ever purchased in my entire life, and I love it so much. So guys, make sure you go check out June's 4B Life on Instagram. Yes. Yeah, chances are sometimes you'll catch me on the podcast literally with my bonnet cap on and my pajamas, because that's literally how I feel sometimes. And then I was also concerned about the fact that, oh my gosh, I'm probably going to have to fix up my face and everything there. But right now I don't have on any makeup. Like, my skin has been at a good place right now, so I don't have on any makeup nor nothing. So yeah, but I just really and truly want to thank every single one of you. This journey has been a tremendous one so far. I want to thank everyone who has been supporting me from the get-go. Literally, it's almost been a year now since I started the podcast, and a lot of you have been rocking with me since then. Some of you guys have come along the journey along the way, but I really and truly want to thank every single one of you, and I really appreciate all the feedback, all the love I've been getting. I literally know I say this all the time, but guys, I swear I'm so happy and so grateful for everything. Also, I'd like to point out that I'm very nervous. Like, I'm very nervous to put this video out. I'm so nervous, and I'm so nervous to record this podcast episode too, because it's like, damn, this is my first video episode, and this is kind of crazy to me. But we're going to get into it. I know I'm corny, but yes, I just want to officially welcome all of you now to Anya Uncensored on YouTube. Okay, so I told you guys I'm going to censor a lot of things. So the bad bee juice will now be the baddie drink. So this week's baddie drink is True Juice orange juice. I like these. I tell you guys all the time how much I like these. So, we have to take our sip together or whatever. This week's episode is going to be about oversharing, and what really motivated me to do this was actually listening to an episode of Next Chat, and they raised some really good points in that episode about oversharing, and I just felt like I want to give my 2 cents also. But yeah, their episode really and truly was one that inspired me to really think about oversharing, and I kind of touched on it a little bit here and there on the podcast, but I've never actually done an episode on oversharing. To me, I would consider oversharing to be someone sharing intimate or personal details of their life to the public or strangers. When we talk about oversharing, the main thing that really comes up is social media, because yes, you can overshare in real life, like when you're in conversation with other people, but majority of the time it's literally through social media. Social media is normally the platform where people tend to overshare. I don't think there's any real blame to place on oversharing. I feel like social media makes it so easy for us to overshare. It's like you kind of create a little family or friends or whatever you want to call it, of people that you literally just know through social media, and they'll be following you and you'll be following them, and it's like you feel like you know each other because you're here posting, oh my gosh, I'm here with my boyfriend, I'm here with my friends, I'm eating here, I'm doing this. It's like people feel like they know you in a way, and I just feel like that's not even just for like influencers or anything. I literally feel like anybody, that literally can happen to anybody. You can literally be sharing intimate details of your life, no matter how uncool or unpopular you think you are. People always feel like they know you because of your social media pages. Most of the time they're literally out here posting our lives, posting what we're eating, posting who we're with, posting people who we're friends with. Personally, like I said, I don't. I've said this on the podcast a lot of the time. I'm a really private individual, and I let you know what I want you to know. So anything that is out there in the space about me, anything that anybody knows about me, something that I was willing to tell somebody for it to be out in the space. Even if it's something that is private to me, if I share that private detail with someone, I chose to do it. So if I made my bed, I'm going to lie down in it. Simple as it is. Personally, I would never consider myself to be an influencer. I would never try to be an influencer. That's literally not my end game. Me having this podcast so happens to make me have to put myself out there, naturally. Obviously, certain details of my life will come out. I'll talk about it on the podcast, sure. I've literally told you guys experiences that I've had in my life, but those are experiences that I'm willing to put out there in the public. Sometimes I feel like persons just share just for sharing's sake. And to me, that's something that is not good. The concept of oversharing, even just like your personal emotions, it literally leaves room for people to pass their own judgments. And I'm going to touch on to that a little bit later. So far, what I've seen in terms of oversharing on social media is that people will be venting when they're sad and when they're stressed, and honestly I feel like sometimes you venting on social media can help the situation, but sometimes I plain think that it doesn't help the situation. If you're constantly sharing details of, oh my gosh, I'm going through this emotional stuff and blah blah blah, social media is not your therapist. You using social media as a medium to vent, they're not your therapist. All you're going to hear is people with their fake, oh my gosh, I hope you're okay, and they quite frankly don't give two rat's ass about you. And it's a sad fact of life, like people literally be out here looking for compassion, when you're going through something, and if that's your medium of venting, by all means go ahead, but we have to be so careful with what we tell people on social media, because chances are you might say something today to them, and well, your Instagram family or your Twitter family, and they literally use it right back to bite you back in the ass. Like, that's the fact of life. They will literally use it to bite you back in the ass. You probably said something really bad on a low day, and then when you're back on your A game, people remember, say, oh, she did say so and so, You get me? So we have to be so careful. Honestly, another thing I think too is that you can't really blame people for thinking the way they do, because if you follow someone, if you follow an influencer, right? Even though I honestly don't like the word influencer, because chances are, what are you influencing? You're influencing other people. I just don't think that is a great title to have, but okay. But if you have influencers, right, and they're out here posting everything, you're watching what they're doing, looking at the newest trends, da 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 da, right? So the moment when they stop doing it, it's just like, what are you doing? You're known for doing that. And I feel like social media influencers have it harder, because their whole life and lifestyle is based on oversharing and causing people to look at what they're doing so they can emulate it. You get me? So this whole concept of oversharing, I don't know. I just don't know why it just can't sit well with me. And I feel like everyone, like, some people literally thrive off of it. Like, some people thrive off of just going on social media and updating people on their lives. Some people definitely thrive off of it, but some people just don't. And to each his own. If that works for you, it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then it just doesn't work for you. Back to what I was saying now about people being able to pass their judgments. A lot of people will come online, and even just relationships. If you guys have never listened to my episode on relationships on social media, you guys really need to check it out, because I raised some really good points in there about people putting their man on social media and having them look like idiots. But anyways, beyond the point, that episode is available on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts, on Spotify, and Anchor FM. Just so you guys know. With oversharing, when you overshare, like I said, you give people the opportunity and the platform to pass judgments on your life, and you can't wrong them. You literally cannot wrong them, because if you put yourself out there, if you put yourself in a position where you're dishing out your whole life and do this and do that, you give people the opportunity to say what they want to say, and everybody's entitled to their own opinions. And we've seen it countless amounts of times, like up on Quest times, and y'all see them post some things, and you just have to say, you know what, personally, I don't comment on these things, because I just feel like everyone is entitled to their own opinion. So I might not agree with your opinion, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to bash you for your opinion. I personally just don't want to pass judgment on other people's opinion, in my sense. But you have other people who don't think like me. You'll have other people who say, well, she posted that on social media, so we can tell them we want about that. Like, there have been countless amounts of cases where you go on Quest times and you will see people posting up videos, ranting about things, and people be in the comments saying, why she think like that? Why she said this? Why she just said that? Even with the notorious men should not cry situation. I feel like everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but at the end of the day, it also depends on how you say things, because the way how you word something has a lot to do with how people take it. And you can literally word it in the best way possible, and it still rub people the wrong way. You get me? If you come out with a statement like that, people are naturally going to have something to say, and you can't wrong them. You literally cannot wrong them. And I don't even feel that that's a matter of oversharing, because the situation that is happening, it's not oversharing, but I'm just using that as an example to just say that when you do overshare, or when you do share something on social media, you are putting yourself out there for people to pass judgments. Like, literally, even my own podcast episode, even this episode right now, I probably might say something that might rub someone the wrong way, but at the end of the day, what is it? I cannot knock somebody for their opinion, because I'm the one who's out here stating how I feel about something. But at the end of the day, I know that maybe someone might not think the same way that I do, so they're allowed to pass their own judgment. You get me? Let me give you guys another example. I literally saw this, I think it was 2 years ago or something like that. I saw an incident where a girl, I don't know if it was her fiance or her boyfriend or whatever, right? She apparently cheated on her partner, and she was on Instagram publicly apologizing to him. I would rather count every single sand grain down at every beach of Portland than to go up on social media and apologize to my man or my significant other for cheating on them. Here's why. I just feel like that would make me look stupid and make him look stupid. If he even decide to pick me back up again, right? But that's not even the worst part. How I see it is that I might look on that situation and say, hey, you know, alright, fine, she do that, but personally I wouldn't. But you have other people who literally be there bashing the girl because she did go on social media and apologize. You know, you're gonna have people bashing her for cheating, okay, whatever. But the main thing that people will be probably bashing her for is for the fact that she's on social media apologizing. It just to me, it just make it look stupid. I just feel like intimate details like that is just complete oversharing and something that the world didn't need to know. But like I said, not everyone is going to think like me. So and honestly, I can't knock people for not thinking the way how I do. It's simple. You can't knock anybody for not having the same views as you. You have to hear out everybody's opinion. I've literally devised like a few things I think an individual could do to prevent oversharing. I think you should be very selective of what you discuss with other people. Because, okay, for me, when I'm going to tell someone something like an intimate detail of my life, I'm literally going to think, what if one day this person wants to betray me and this information comes out? Will I be okay with the fact that this information is out in the space? That is one thing I always think to myself, that, hey, if this comes out, what will this do to me? Will this damage my reputation? Will this, you know, what will it do? If it's something that I really and truly think that would ruin my reputation, I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm gonna keep that shit to the grave. I'm gonna keep it to my 6 feet under, because I'm not gonna tell nobody. Everybody's hope is that their friends who they have in their lives are loyal to you. But listen to me, nobody's loyal to anybody. No, none of these people are loyal to you. Don't ever forget it. They're not loyal to you, and they're not obligated to you. So one day them can literally pick up themselves and cut. And then, you know, bye-bye to all your secrets. So that's one way how I determine if I want to share something or not with a person. Also, try not to post when you're upset, because when you're upset, you will literally post foolishness. I'm so serious. You will post foolishness, and the next morning you literally look at yourself and be like, why the hell did I post this? Personally, what I feel like your motto should be is, be like Stalk Ashley. Like, I don't know if it's just me or me just not doing enough research, but I don't know anything about Stalk Ashley. Apart from her song them, I don't know nothing about her personal life. I don't even know how old Stalk Ashley is. Listen, we need to all be as unproblematic as her. We literally don't know what sis is doing ever. Or maybe I'm just not digging hard enough. But if you are about to post something on IG, ask yourself, what would Stalk Ashley do? This is the end of Anya Uncensored. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. Hopefully, as the time progresses, I'll get better at this video thing, because honestly, a girl is so nervous. I can't even talk properly. I couldn't just come back to the podcast with a guest on for this episode, but I'm in the process of getting some of your YouTube favorites onto the podcast. So guys, just be patient with me. I promise you guys are going to love it. So I just want to thank every single one of you for listening to this episode. Please make sure you're following the podcast page on IG at Anya ANYAH.uncensored. And we also have a Twitter now, guys. I made a Twitter. I have not tweeted on it yet, but you guys can go and run it up at Anya Uncensored, one word. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the podcast YouTube page for those who are on YouTube. And also, guys, I'm going to have to stop doing the song of the episode. Well, I can probably just like tell you guys the song of the episode instead of playing it out, because you know, copyright purposes. This week's song of the episode is Zai Zai Mood Swings. Bye guys. If you have braids in and you don't have edges, what are you doing? You're not hot girl. Only hot girl will get them braids done, do their edges. If you don't do your edges, you ain't a hot girl, period. No, so what them edges they look so?